talking about exposure, Brandy has put Wanya out here, making it known that he dated her when she was 16 and he was 22. He left her brokenhearted and she is not letting that go. Might be 30 years later, but she is telling her story in her book Phases. So we're going to get into this 90s tea. Then we also got Brandy. So Miss Brandy has put Wanya from Boys to Men out on Front Street. She has let it be known that for years the narrative that they didn't deal with each other until she was of age was just a story that they had come up with, that they had really started dealing with each other when she was 16 and he was 22 years old. Now I had to sit with that for a little while because that to me just didn't make any sense, because Wanya at the time that he was dealing with Brandy was an established star, and in the 90s with that group Boys to Men, they were the top of the charts. They were superstars. And again, this is in a time before you had social media, so they were just great singers, putting on good concerts, putting in that work, getting themselves out there, making great albums that were flying off the shelf. So he was already established. He could have had anybody he wanted of legal age. And I'm not trying to hate on Brandy, but I just will never understand how you find yourself in these situations and you got options. You had the world open to you, but that's the direction he gravitated towards. But the story he was trying to give, that he was only dealing with her when she was of age, was not true. She says that she even lost her V card to him when she was 16. And I just had to think, what does a 22-year-old want with a 16-year-old? Like, when I was 22, I was trying so hard to be an adult that to go backwards with a child just seems weird to me. And I don't know if it's because I'm a woman, so I'm not inclined to date younger than me. That is of no interest. You have to be older than me. So younger is not really where I would be interested in to begin with. But if I did, you gotta know under 18 is not okay. It wasn't okay then, and it's definitely not okay now. Now, it flew back then because that was kind of the culture. And I know that seems off now because people don't think that way, but it was not unusual for older guys to be interested in or dating younger girls. That was just not unheard of. Now, it would have been weird if it was like a 30-year-old woman trying to date a 16-year-old boy. That you didn't really see too much of back then, but guys doing that, it wasn't really thought of as weird. It was normalized. So I could see how that ended up happening in Brandy's orbit, but it's still not okay because you know it's not okay. So why Wanya went there, we'll never know. But I'm hoping he's learned his lesson, because even though she didn't say this back then, she put it out now. And I think now it's probably more hurtful to him than it would have been back then. He's a father now. He has sons. He's got sons who he's trying to do a music career with, and I don't know that they've really taken off, but they do sound great. I've seen their clips on social media and stuff, and they sound really good. They have a great voice just like their dad, and he's a really good singer, so I have no doubt he can do a good job in teaching them and guiding them. He's in the music business. He was very successful. That group is iconic, so Boyz II Men's already cemented their name in history. They're there until something major just takes them out of there. But I just wonder what that conversation looks like. Your sons are like, Dad, you're 22 and she was 16. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And there was an interview that he did where he was talking about, we got to remember this is what they looked like back in the day. He was a baby face. Look at that. You knew better. You knew better. You knew better. You should have did better. That conversation, I couldn't even imagine having to explain that to your sons. Like, why would you do that? And I hope you encourage them not to, because it's just not okay. There's enough women your age. You could find one 18, but 16, that was a direct no-no. But Brandy says kind of that relationship ended up happening because she did what most are doing when you know what you're doing isn't right. She said she lied to her parents and she wasn't really forthcoming about what was going on with it. And you know, he wasn't about to say nothing because he knew that's jail right there for you if they actually pursued that. So he's pretty fortunate that they didn't, because I'm sure, even though she thought she might have been fooling mom and dad, parents really aren't as dumb as you be trying to play them out to be. So I'm sure they had a clue something was going on, because when you get old enough, you peep game and you know what's going on. And there's, as my dad told me, there's really nothing new that you could ever do. You might do it a little bit differently, but there's nothing new you can do. And I'm sure they knew what was going on, but I guess they didn't really want to put the kibosh down. But time, maturity, obviously helped that relationship to be just what it was, kind of a starter relationship. And they say, legend has it, part of why that relationship ended up not working out was due to this lady. So this is Adina Howard, and she did that song back in the 90s, I'ma be a freak until the dawn. And that was like her claim to fame. And she had a couple other songs out too, but that was really the one that put her on the map. Well, allegedly, she was dealing with Wanya too around the same time as Brandy. Now, she probably into real grown folks things, and she was very grown compared to Brandy, who was a teenager. So I'm sure she turned Wanya's world upside down. I'm sure she was the one that exposed him to things he probably didn't know nothing about. And so Wanya was feeling her, she was feeling him. Brandy was not feeling it. So I guess because these two, she and Brandy were on the same label. Crazy work. Wanya messing with two of them at the same time, and they on the same label. But she made some comments. She went on to the Wendy Williams show at the time. This was in the 90s when Wendy Williams was on the radio, and she was dominating the radio back east. Wendy Williams was that chick. And so I guess she got wind of this stuff going on, because Wendy Williams was finding out everything back in the day, everything. And so she got in touch with Adina, and Adina gave her what she was looking for apparently in this interview. And she made some comments about Brandy and Sylvia Rhone, and Sylvia Rhone was running the label at the time. So she said that caused her career to just flatline, because they weren't happening. You can't be talking about the head of the record label. And they were really behind Brandy, and I guess Sylvia Rhone had come to her saying, you know, you back off Wanya, let's just focus on the music. And she didn't want to do that. And she went on and said whatever it was she said on there, and that ended up stopping her music career. So who knew Wanya was out here causing all of that trouble? Let me know in the comments if you would have thought Wanya was out here dating two people at the same time, having these ladies feud over him, messing up people's music careers, because they don't want to stop dealing with Wanya Morris from Boyz II Men. Who would have thought? But we're going to get into what Brandy said was going on with these two, because we're not letting it slide, Wanya. We're not going to let that slide. So we're going to see what her statement was about this relationship. And let me know if you are reading or will be reading Brandy's book Phases, because I think I'm gonna have to get it, because from the tea she was spilling on this one, I'm gonna have to see what else she had going on in there. I think they also said she had a little section where she talks about her brother, and Ray J is a hot mess right now. But let's get into this. This is from TMZ. Brandy, I dated Wanya Morris when I was 16. He was 22. Brandy's finally confirming the old rumor that she dated Wanya Morris of Boyz II Men fame when she was just 16 years old and he was 22. I'm gonna take a little pause. Back in the day, when this was actually happening, I think everybody knew. They didn't confirm it, but when they came out with that song Broken Hearted, it was pretty clear something was going on between them, or at least it was the tail end of it. So I don't really know who they thought they was fooling. We're gonna take a quick pause here. QW Cypher Earth, you gonna get that book. I mean, she got me, but she was spilling some tea on this one. Who've been trying to act like he's just been so squeaky clean and he was just her mentor. I bet she was mentoring, all right. Should have waited till she was 18. Should have had a little bit more class about you, Wanya. Alright, we're gonna get back into the story. The singer and actress admitted to the romance in her new memoir, Phases, revealing the pair started dating around 1995, about a year after they met. Brandy says she admired Wanya, who served as her music mentor during the early days, but she says he quickly weaponized that admiration. Wanya called himself Brandy's boyfriend in private, she says, and though he wouldn't publicly state they were together, because he knew it was illegal. He knew what he was doing was wrong. And Brandy says that she was under the impression that they were madly in love, or at least what I believed to be at 16. Brandy says when the two first had adult interaction for the first time, but she was not an adult when it happened for the first time. It wasn't about her at all. No surprise there. She says he was, quote, getting what he wanted from someone too young to recognize she was being used, end quote, adding his interest seemed to stem from her being conquerable. Whew. She says she initially wanted to wait to have adult interaction until she was married, but she changed her mind because she believed that having an adult interaction with him would cement our bond. All the young girlies fall into that same trap. Brandy says she tricked herself into thinking that the ex was her choice. She feels she didn't really have one. The two plan to reveal their relationship when she turned 18, Brandy says, but she says they split after she caught him fooling around with an assistant, and he confessed multiple infidelities to her. So he was just doing a whole lot. Okay. Brandy says she knew in the moment she'd been played. Wanya has repeatedly denied claims the two dated before Brandy turned 18, asserting in a 2021 on Instagram Live that the two developed feelings for one another after she became a legal adult. Sure, sir. At the time, he said, "There's no lie going on here. You can ask Brandy. She will tell you the same story." Well, doesn't look like she's telling the same story, Wanya. It's the end of the road for you, my friend. The end of the road. Not a good look. Just not a good look. But let me know what you think. QW Cypher Earth. He was 22, grown man. Period. 6 years difference is not happening. Not happening. You have to come back to me when you are legal. And that's it. That is all. So that's all you had to do. He could have had anybody. There was just no reason for it. And then he was probably trying to make her think she was crazy. And she probably felt like she was crazy because you're young. You don't even know. Hormones all over the place. And he over here just playing games. That smile just says you were up to some shady stuff. But who would have thought Wanya was a troublemaker? I just would not have thought. And I'm not saying he's not cute. I mean, I guess he's alright. He was never the one in Boys to Men. I was like, ooh, he could sing, but he had too much of trying to be all up in the videos, dancing and everything. That's the energy he was giving me. He was just screaming, "Pick me, look at me." So he was never the one for me. But the fact that he was just charming all the girlies out here is just blowing my mind, because I would never have thought that. No hate, Wanya. You just didn't do it for me, but I guess. But Brandy said, no, sir. That's the end of the road for you, my friend. You and your fake stories about dealing with her when she was 18. Take 2 years off that, sir. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. All right.